9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are you ready?
Welcome back to Training on the Charts. What a beautiful Saturday we are having today. So as you can see, I'm going to jump right into the training, waste no time. Today's class won't be that long because it's a very simple candlesticks pattern. As you can see, we are going to go over and talk about the bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. Let's do it. Again, before I show you anything on the actual candlestick, I just want to draw out what it is. So the last couple of days we've been talking about a certain candlestick pattern that usually takes 3 candles. Today and tomorrow we're gonna be talking about 2 candlestick patterns that only need 2 candles. And this is gonna be your bullish engulfing candle. It's super simple, super easy. The only thing you need to know is that one candle is red and the other one is blue. Depending on your chart and how you want the colors of your candlestick to be, that's up to you. But at the end of the day, the whole concept of a bullish engulfing is that you have a last down candle, and this is usually fine at the lower of a trend, like an impulsive move down and then like a pullback. You will find this on that swing, those little swings, either the small swings for the market to make pullbacks or the actual U-turn of the whole market. So, like I said, you will find this on swing lows, or lower highs and lower lows type of areas. So the whole concept is we have the last down candle, which for me is red, and then the up candle is bigger than the previous down candle, which usually is like double of the size or more. So this is one, and then this is the double, right? Or it could be bigger. At least it has to be double or more the size of the previous candle for it to be a bullish engulfing. And engulfing means this whole candle is covering over the previous candle. And for this type of method, we are looking for buy opportunity because, again, let's say we have a wick here, right? And then a wick here. This one has a wick there, and then this one actually have a longer wick. We're gonna use the low of this wick of the down candle to the wick of the up candle, and that's gonna be our zone for us to buy in the market when it comes back down to this zone, to this area, right? So again, oh man, I didn't want to do that. Again, our bullish engulfing is when our up candle, for me is blue, is double or more the size of the down candle, which for me is the red candle. With this candlestick pattern, we are looking for buys to take the market back up. Obviously, depending on how you trade, your target would be at least 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 or 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, whichever way you feel comfortable. Because around at the end of the day is how you trade and how you want to proceed with this career. Or pip wise, are you happy with 20 pips, 30 pips, 50 pips? Those are another way you could plan for your targets. So let's go. Take this out. I don't want to remove all the pictures because I'm actually using the one from yesterday that we actually found a beautiful setup for a buy. That the market is closed right now for us, but I'm waiting for Sunday night Monday to see what happens. This is the one we saw. So this is the one I'm waiting. You see how it went into our zone with a beautiful rally, base rally, and there's a little baby gap in there. Boom. So this, I like to name it rally, base rally. My stop loss below the low. And then my target is a 321, which is back to the top where you see the head and shoulder. Two of them. This is the daily, but on the 4 hour, you will see two head and shoulders right there. Boom. So that was a little update of what I'm watching and waiting for. So let's continue with our bullish engulfing candle, right? This is one right here. Beautiful. This is the last down candle and the bullish engulfing right here. Perfect setup. We would have done this, right? You could, like I said, you could mark up the whole candle because that's a whole unit right there. If you wanna, if you're not worried, if a drawdown doesn't really bother, if a tight drawdown at the end of the day, because remember, at the end of the day, I'm trying to. My channel is not to tell you what to do and how to trade like me. I'm giving you scenario and options of what you could do, and the way you move forward with your trading career is how you move forward. There's educators that says you want to just highlight the body of the last down candle, and that could be your entry. So you could have a small sniper entry and a smaller stop loss, right? Sometimes this is what happens if you do that. You see this candle right here. Where's my arrow? You see these candles right here? They never touch your zone. So you missed this play. And this play went up. It went up 72 pips just by you trying to have a tighter, a sniper entry and a tighter stop loss. You just missed 72 pips right there. Now, if you would have just marked up the whole candlestick pattern, that's why it's called a candlestick pattern. It takes two candles to confirm the pattern. I take the low of whichever one has the lowest, and then the high wick of, of either or. You probably saying, oh, but it's always going to be the blue one. Incorrect, because sometimes there's a wick on the last candle that actually is bigger than the blue one, but the body itself closed below. So here you would have marked up the whole thing. That's rare. I don't really see that, but it does happen. Especially news and all that stuff. That the news push it up to collect the money that is sitting up here, and then come back down close, and then the next candle push up the direction that it needs to go, right? So, do you want to be precise in your entry and be perfect, or you want to have a zone that it could come in, give the stop loss a little room for it to breathe, and then take your target, So this one I would have had it right there, and then look, risk to reward of 1 to 3, our 50%, stop loss below the low, and then at least a 3-2-1, which 3-2-1 was right there. Look at the market came. It wicked into our 50% line. Remember, we could also use the Ghana. I noticed I did it yesterday too. I used a regular box. But if we use the Ghana and mark up the wick to wick and extend it, all right? Put that right there and this one right here. You can see that the price came into our 25 zone and 50. Remember how I've been teaching that price when it has a move like this and it comes back into our box zone, usually it will give us first 25% and then make a move. Then it will probably come back and give us a second entry around the 50, maybe 75, and then make the move. So here we saw that it gave us an opportunity on the 25 and the 50 zone. So you could have marked it on the 25 and low your stop loss below the low, but then your 3 to 1 would have been more higher, which either way you would have cleared it because you see here it cleared it. So you could either use the 25% as an entry, with a stop loss below the low, target 3 to 1, boom, you made it, or you could enter at the 50, stop loss below the low, and then a 3 to 1, which is more down, and you can see that this candle did it. So you see how the bullish engulfing candle could also be a way of having it in your toolkit to analyze the market and come with a potential trade idea. Like I said, these um, these lessons that I'm teaching, you could use them separately, but you really have to master them to really catch them and see. But just by itself, you need more confirmation and more, you know, data to make your analysis correct. Another reason to show that this was a good area for a buy, you know, was the inverted head and shoulder that, I don't know if you noticed it, but we have a low, high, lower low, change of direction, this candle, and then boom right here. That would have been your entrance. Remember how I said that, you want to zone up point 2 to 3 for your inverted head and shoulder to make sure you get in the game. But look at how this inverted head and shoulder is within your bullish engulfing. So that is double confirmation. Plus I see other stuff that I'm gonna teach later on down the road that made it a strong area for us to buy up at this point. So that's a beautiful part right there. Yes. Let me remove this. Boom. Let's find another one. Where do you see? Okay, this is a nice one that it didn't work. You see how this bullish engulfing, this blue candle engulfed the last candle. If we would have used the Ghana, would have cleared. Let me see. 20, 25. Let's use 50%. Long, the 50%. Low. Yep, if we were because this was the low, so we used the previous low, swing low, a 3 to 1. It would have never gave us 3 to 1, but it would have. Yeah, it would have never gave us 3 to 1. But how many pips did it give us from the entrance? It gave us a 25 pip drawdown, but when it came back around and went up, it gave us 46 pips. This was a 50-50 trade setup, depending where you put your stop loss. This trade would have gone your way, depending where you put your stop loss, or not go your way, depending on you put your stop loss. You feel me? So that one was a 50, but it's good that you saw it because you needed to see that not always just using this pattern, a candlestick pattern by itself works. You need other confirmation. This one, we have one here, last red candle with a beautiful big large candle. This one I would have just kept it in the zone. When you get better at looking at these candles and having experience and back testing and real life experience on the charts, you're gonna notice when it's certain candles that's like this huge, you don't take the whole zone. You could, with your discernment and your knowledge and wisdom on the charts, you will find yourself, doing certain things that, I would also probably mark this one because that's a mitigation, in which I will talk about that later on. But for this purpose of the training of engulfing Bullish Engulfing, I would just use this one because I know that when this large candle like this, it usually come fill up like 50 to 75% of this candle. So I use that last candle, and again, 50%, and then low below the previous low. If this was the low, I would have put it down this low, right there, boom, and you can see that it never hit a stop loss. But again, depending on your broker and what spread you had, the spread will probably would have took you out, but not the candlestick itself. And I will talk about that later on. And then a 3-to-1 risk to reward, which is, where is it? Right there. So you can see the market came down, enter us, never hit our stop loss, and then went up and hit our target right on this one right here. You see my mouse where it's going around? It would have hit our target right there. Boom. Giving us 74 pips. Beautiful. You know? And then let's do one more for today. And you go. So I want to show something. I noticed already 3 times. You see how you have your last candle, and then you have another blue candle, then a big one. You know, depending on how many times you've seen it, that could be an entry. But a bullish engulfing is 2 candles itself. So you see how you have a last red candle here, and then the blue one engulfing that one. So again, low of the red, high of the blue, boom, and boom. 25% is my entrance, which is right there. Stop loss below the low, and a 3-2-1. Look at how it gave us here, a beautiful entrance. Now, if you would have had a bigger stop loss because you saw left and you noticed some other stuff that would have gave you a target up here, overall, before it dropped, it gave us a total of, drum roll, 238 pips. Beautiful. That's nice. Super nice. So family, there you go. Today our lesson was on bullish engulfing, and I gave just in this scenario right here. I didn't even go back. Just in this area right here, you saw multiple setups that played out in our favor. You know, there was one that was suspect. You know, it was a 50-50. But overall, you could see that certain ways of seeing the market works. The only thing is that you need to set yourself some time to learn this. You know, when you really learn this, you could see it quickly without even trying to, you know, work hard for it. You know, in the beginning, you will have to. At the end of the day, like anything that, you know, we do, you have to work for it. I like to tell people, I like to compare this as a doctor. You know, when someone decides to become a doctor, they don't become a doctor overnight, or, you know, a couple of months or a year. You know, for them to see the real big money, guess what? They have over 10, 15 plus years studying and practicing the same thing over and over and over and over. You know, same thing comes with us in trading. You know, you can make quick money, you know, if you learn certain things, but if you really want to make the real big money, like your monthly, and, you know, disclaimer, you know, past results doesn't guarantee future gains, but if you want to see some like a month or 2 month or 3 month worth of salary in one trade, or even a yearly type of salary in a trade or two, which I seen it with my own eyes with my mentors, you know, you really need to master this craft, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about trading. You know, when you decide to give it your all to learn this and really become a master of your craft, then the money will come. I also like to tell people, you know, don't chase the money, chase the skill set, because the moment you become a master in the skill set, no one could take that away from you. And the only thing stopping you from making uh, more money than the last trade is yourself and your knowledge and your wisdom and your skill set in looking at the chart. So remember that, family. This is not an overnight thing. It's every day, every second, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year type of progress for you to increase yourself in this field, and for you to have that freedom lifestyle that this trading world could give you. So, family, I appreciate you from tuning in. I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share what I see and how I do things. At the end of the day, there's so many YouTube, and I respect everybody. There's so many different levels. I'm a beginner. I'm doing beginner entry classes. You have gurus that they do other things, but at the end of the day, our Heavenly Father gave us an opportunity to share what we do with others by the means of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and so on and so on. So my preference is Instagram and YouTube. So, I'm just doing my best to just show people how I see things, and at the same time give all grace and glory to God, because He's the one who provided this for us and for me. At the end of the day. So I would never go saying that, oh, I did this, self-made. No, because self-made is not self-made. Because at the end of the day, the priority, the main person that got you to where you got in your success is the Heavenly Father, obviously. But then you have a team of people that supported you, that helped you out some way, somehow, to get you to where you at. So, my thought and my opinion about self-made millionaires and stuff like that, I don't believe that, because that's a lie. Because at the end of the day, someone along your path helped you some way, somehow. It's just that the pride takes over, and you don't give the proper respect and gratitude to those who helped you along the way. Even if you don't even talk to them no more, or they passed away, or anything, you always need to humble yourself in life and always give God thanks, number one, and then those who actually helped you along the way. So I will never say I did this by myself, that, I'm self-made, none of that, because I'm not. I had a team of mentors, a team of other traders along the way that helped me, and and their skill level could be below me, equal to me, or above me. Remember, at the end of the day, you can learn something from everybody in this level. Remember, people see things differently. Because remember, trading, I know I'm going a little bit over, but remember this also. Trading, if you put everything together, right? Let's go to a different. Let's go to a crypto. Let's go. Which one? Let's go to X bar, right? So, and then we go to the monthly, right? And open it. This is what we see on the monthly time frame, right? We see a low, a high, a lower low, a higher high, equal lowish type of zone with the previous low, and then a higher high, right? Okay, there's a pattern here. There's multiple patterns in here that I see, but what do you see? At the end of the day, we have this type of scenario, right? Right? Kind of look like a dog or an elephant. No, it kind of look like a rhino, right? This is the body right here. This is kind of the neckline, the head, and then the rhino part in the front. The rhino pattern. You see? There's so many things you could see in the market. That's what I see. The first thing I saw was, it was like an elephant type, but then when I looked at it closely, I'm like, oh no, it's a rhino. It looked like a rhino. Someone else could have saw something completely different. You know, this is the beautiful thing about trading. Is not one way of seeing the market is not the right way. It's just the right way for you. You know, because that's how what you see. You know, so remember that there's so many ways you could see the market. It's just find a way that you feels comfortable for you. And let's be honest, when you're practicing, the results are hitting. You know, and if it's like they say, if it's not broken, don't change it or don't fix it. So once again, family, thank you again for tuning in. Obviously, you could. This is I love doing this. This is I'm so grateful that God led me to this path of marking up and chart, being able to understand the charts and being able to share it with others that are willing to hear me out and just take the journey with me, like they say in the military, I was in the Marines. We have a saying, the few and the proud. Not everybody is equipped to be a Marine. That's why we say the few and the proud, because the few that made it through boot camp and made it into a career or, accomplished their contract, there's not too many of us. It would seem like there's a lot, but there's we take it seriously, and that's why we say a few and a proud. I take the same phrase into this world of trading. The few and the proud will make this into a career, and not even a career, a lifestyle. Because trading is a lifestyle, you know. So, family, thank you, and I see you tomorrow. Have a good one, and God bless you all. Yes, all glory to God.